Hey there, you me and DC fans, and welcome if you are new. I am the stepson of Krypton, coming to you today with Mr. Terrific, issue number 3. Don't want to waste any time. We're just going to jump right on into the issue. So, guys, let's go. All right, guys. So, if we remember from the last issue, Mr. Terrific had shown up at the wrecked Prescott Tower. He goes inside and he sees this hellhound, which we find out is from Apocalypse. And he's kind of halfway in and out of this interdimensional rift. And just as the issue ends, boom, he makes it out of it. Now he's got this to deal with. So, here we see Mr. Terrific's arm coming up through some of the wreckage, and it's holding the T-sphere. So we get to see basically he's levitating over the wreckage as the T-sphere is taking him up into the air, and the others are evaluating this anomalous rift. And they report that the rift at the watchtower and this rift are not tied to the same location, as this rift has significant netherlight radiation, which is due to the Nexus engine. As the rift starts to close, what other option is there? Go through it, I guess, because that's exactly what Mr. T did. When the T sphere scanned the area, we determined that, or I should say, they determined that this location, this rift, led to the Palace of Eternity. Now, for those of you unfamiliar, we have seen the Palace of Eternity before, as referenced on the page. It has shown up in the Flash as well as the Justice League of America in a few issues. Uh, this is the home of the Lord of Time, and it exists outside the bounds of time and space. However, there is no time, no pun intended, to take in the sights, as we see just this immense cloud of parademons heading his way. We then go back to then, not again, to the Prescott Tower, and we see our old pal Dre, or at least the training hologram of him, as he approaches the security desk and he leads them on a little run. Meanwhile, Michael's able to break in and head towards the Nexus engine. Michael is now sneaking around Prescott Tower like a spy, which is funny because he always believed that his spy tech would actually be used by actual spies in the real world and not necessarily himself. And it is nice as we see him walking around. We do get to see the fair play on the back of the jacket, which is a staple for Mr. Terrific. But then we see this question mark, and at the bottom says Lex Luthor. The scene then kind of dramatically cuts environments here, and we see Lex Luthor dining at a table for one, and he's then approached by Athena. She, believing the person that's currently breaking into her building is his long trusted minion, Mercy Graves. Lex, of course, is denying any involvement, and at this time, he's actually telling the truth. The very next, we see Mercy, and she's in a warehouse of some sort, some kind of a lab. So maybe Luther wasn't telling. But it, of course, is quickly corrected when he confirms that she's in the warehouse in Gotham. However, she is still breaking into somewhere. Next, we see Mr. Cormorant in a mission control room leading a team to break into Michael Holt's house, as he believes he's the one that got away when Dre was killed. Athena walks in on the mission and reminds Mr. Cormorant that is not only unsure that he's got the right person, but she doesn't want him taken out without being sure, as it will draw too much unnecessary attention. As the team stealthily breaks into Holt's home, they're startled by none other than Michael Holt waking up to go get some water. But how could he be in two places at once? They watch him go back to bed, and then they check the garage looking for the Camaro that escaped, and it isn't there either. Maybe Mr. Cormorant has it wrong. As the four intruders depart, we see Michael, and he tells Nola, his version of Alexa, to end the Home Alone protocols. And then when we kind of flash and we see the bedroom in his house, we see the hologram disappearing. However, during all of this time, the team at Prescott Tower has located him inside the building. Thanks to the terrific tech, though, remember what we saw when Dre was killed, they're not able to ID him, and they're not able to lock onto what his face looks like. But They do know he is there. We then go back to Mercy and we see that the facility she's in is also, as said before, some kind of a lab containing another Nexus engine because she mentions the engine and the amounts of netherlight radiation. One of the scientists is begging Mercy not to turn on the engine, even going as far as to say the sky is falling. But Mercy, believing in her chief scientist, Dr. Kavanaugh, presses forward, gets in her helicopter, and leaves. And then we see the machine turned on. Boom. A massive explosion nearly takes out Mercy's helicopter. And we get to a nice look at the Gotham skyline and we see the size of the explosion that this engine caused. But we also get to see a familiar sight. Off in the distance, we see the bat signal shining bright. But we go back to Prescott Tower. Mr. T continues to make his way towards the Nexus engine, his wife's creation, and he's looking upon it and he gets humbled by just how smart she really was. Just then, though, he's taken down by Mr. Cormorant, which he quickly does bounce back with some nice footwork. They scuffle a little bit, and then one of his T spheres gets broken, to which he does tell him, I've got He's got more balls. Now we come to the introductions part as Cormorant asks Michael who's he supposed to be, and when he says, I'm Mr. Goddamn Terrific. He doesn't actually say that though. And as he's kind of being made fun of for his name, Cormorant tells him that that's his name and kind of receives the same ridicule as his name is that of a bird. And for those of you who don't know, a little quick fun fact here: cormorants are 40 different kind of species of aquatic birds known for their diving abilities and their hooked bills, even able to reach depth of 150 feet while diving for their dinner, which is kind of interesting because when we look at his helmet, the little nose, it looks like it's kind of got a kind of a hooked bill. Um, and then ironically, as I always call him Mr. T, if you've been watching the other videos, even Cormorant wants to call him Mr. T. So the fight continues on, and Mr. T there, he's not faring too well in this. Now, keep in mind though, this is his first outing as Mr. T and with the T spheres, so be expected it wasn't going to go perfect, right? Cormac continues to beat the living shit out of Mr. T, telling him that he's going to kill him just like he did Dre. And as he is just whipping him with that nightstick, crack. His visor's cracked. Things didn't really turn out according to plan. We don't know yet if Cormorant knows who he is yet, just by looking at his eyes through the cracked visor. However, based on what the next issue at the bottom there says, he just might be getting the help in the form of a Dark Knight. All right, guys. So that is issue 3 down for Mr. Terrific. Again, starting out a little slow, kind of like we have seen all of the other in the Absolute, as well as even the Justice League Unlimited series go. So not that big a deal. I expect that it will pick up. Still kind of unsure how I feel about this series yet so far. Let me know down in the comments if you like this series and if you want me to keep doing it. If you guys don't and you're not really that interested in Mr. Terrific, we may just nix that one, as we do have a lot of other comics that we are currently putting out videos on. If you've made it with me this far, you might as well go ahead and give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and have your bell notifications clicked. That way you will get alerted whenever we put out these other videos, as well as everything we're doing in the world of Superman with the Superman movie as well, because we've got a lot of content coming out for that, guys. And to keep this video as short as possible, that is going to wrap it for me on this issue of You, Me, and DC. Until next time, guys, I'll see you then.